Welcome to our discussion. Let's dive right into some of the strategies for handling labor buyer objections. We have a really comprehensive set of responses that cover a lot of common buyer hesitations.
Yep, it's like a playbook. There's something here for every kind of objection that comes our way.
Exactly. One of the first objections we see is, we already have a guy. This one's about loyalty to the current provider. And the response we use is something like, that's great. We don't replace, we support. Even great teams need depth on the bench, especially when timelines shift.
Yeah.
Which really emphasizes the idea of being an extra resource rather than an adversary.
It's that bench strength mentality. Everyone loves having a backup when things suddenly change, right?
Right. And then you have objections like, we're not looking right now. It's where the buyer isn't actively seeking new labor. The response basically says, totally understand. We just like to be on standby, so you don't have to scramble if something changes last minute. It's a proactive approach. Because
Absolutely.
Being on standby offers instant reassurance.
I like that. It's all about being available without forcing a change. It's like you're keeping a safety net ready, which is comforting.
Exactly. And then there's the classic, we have a roster we trust. It plays on the idea of consistency. The response here reassures by saying, that's what we aim for too. Our crews integrate smoothly because we prepare them to meet your standards. It's not about disrupting the existing operations, but adding flexibility when needed.
True, it's about enhancing rather than replacing.
Exactly. Now, moving on to something a bit more delicate. When a buyer says, I've had bad experiences with labor companies. This objection reflects past disappointments. We respond by saying, same here, that's why we built this company. Local leadership, plus transparent systems, better accountability. It shows that we not only understand their pain, but also have built a framework to avoid it.
Yep, that
especially in
transparency
industries
factor is
that
key.
rely so much on trust.
Yeah, trust is everything in this space. And then there's a question of cost. Your pricing is too high. Quite a common objection.
Oh, right. The response is like, we understand. Our crew may cost a little more, but we typically reduce overstaffing and deliver tighter builds. That saves money in the long run. It's a classic case of short-term
Absolutely.
cost versus long-term savings. It's all here about measuring overall value.
That's a neat angle. But I have to challenge something. Don't you think sometimes these responses might come off as too scripted? I mean, buyers might see through them if they're overused.
I hear you. However, the beauty is the table is designed as a training tool. It's meant to help new team members like sales BDMs or account executives handle objections with finesse. The point is to provide a framework that you can then adapt to real-life situations. Even the best frameworks need a human touch.
Right? It's that balance between structure and personality. Moving on, what about the objection, we don't work with new vendors? That one often stumps people.
Oh yes, that one's interesting. The response is, we're happy to go through your process now, so you're not stuck without options later. We'll do the paperwork. It's an offer to integrate while acknowledging their existing protocols. It's like offering to join an established team rather than forcing a change.
That makes the transition feel safe. And then there's the, I don't know your people objection, which targets personal trust.
Yes, that one gets addressed by suggesting, let's start with one. We'll introduce the text first so you know who you're getting. If they don't deliver, we'll eat the cost. It's a low-risk introduction aimed at alleviating concerns about unknown variables.
Right.
Kind of like a trial run to build confidence before a full-blown partnership.
It sort of takes the edge off the fear of the unknown. Then there's the one, I'm not the decision maker, which is more about networking, right?
Indeed. That response is simply, No problem. Is there someone you'd recommend I connect with? Happy to loop you in when it's relevant. It's all about opening the avenue to the real decision maker without causing friction.
It's gentle but straightforward.
Really effective when handled properly.
And what about regional issues? If a buyer says, we don't have shows in that city, then we just turn it into a standby opportunity.
Correct. The response is, understood. If anything pops up in the region, we can be your ready backup. No scramble, no stress. It positions us as the go-to option without pressuring them immediately.
That definitely keeps the relationship
open. A sort of safety net for future needs.
It's a smart way to say, we're here for you, even if you're not actively working together now.
Speaking of being available, the objection, send me your info and I'll take a look, is interesting. This is more passive deferral. The response is, absolutely. I'll also follow up in a couple weeks with availability updates so we stay relevant when you need us. It's keeping the dialogue alive without forcing an immediate decision. And it respects the buyer's timeline. Very considerate.
Now, one of the more operational objections is about management burdens. I don't like managing new crew on site. What do you think about that one?
That's a good one. The response is, that's why we brief crew thoroughly and assign a lead who reports to you. One point of contact, low lift for you. It's designed to ease any control or stress concerns by simplifying management. It cuts out unnecessary hassle.
And the beauty of this entire table is that it's not just about one-off responses. It's a strategy for internal alignment, training, and even call preparation.
Absolutely. The table is really versatile. It's ideal for sales onboarding, objection handling training, internal outreach messaging, and CRM scripting. It's like a Swiss Army knife for sales teams.
Yeah.
Having something like this can really boost confidence and consistency across the board.
It's interesting, though, how these responses manage to convert apparent negatives into opportunities to enhance value.
Exactly. And even when a client throws an unforeseen objection like, we just laid off internal crew, or we had to cut labor on this show, the tailored responses focus on offering flexible support. For instance, that's hard. If you need flexible labor without overhead, we can support short-term wins without long-term costs, which really touches on cost efficiency and immediate relief.
For sure, it's a matter of aligning our services with their immediate pain points while positioning us as a strategic partner for future benefits.
Yeah, and even when there are more red tape complications, like too much red tape to onboard new vendors, the response assures them we take the administrative load off their plate by saying, one form and we handle the rest. We exist to make your life easier, not harder. Embracing simplicity, where the process might seem overwhelming.
It's all about reducing friction. And these detailed responses really help in delivering a message that feels both respectful and confident in the value we bring.
Right, I mean, when you have objections ranging from budget concerns to union labor constraints, and even limitations like only booking based on client budgets, each tailored response demonstrates an understanding of the industry's intricacies. It's fascinating that we can cover almost every potential objection with a thoughtful reply. And each response is designed not just to counter an objection, but to invite further dialogue.
Absolutely. And while we have these predefined responses, the key is that they serve as, well, a starting point. Sales professionals can and should tailor them to their voice while addressing the unique needs of each buyer.
Yes, precisely. In fact, when I look at this approach, it's like a well-oiled machine that allows for flexibility and real human connection. And in any sales context, that human touch makes all the difference. It's all about adding that personal insight on top of a solid framework.
In the end, these strategies not only help navigate objections, but also build trust and long-term partnerships. It's about being ready, being flexible, and always keeping the client's best interests in mind.
Absolutely. And if nothing else, this method makes our conversation with clients less confrontational and more like a collaborative solution
Right on.
discussion, turning potential friction into an opportunity for genuine support.
Well, this has been an engaging look into the strategies behind overcoming objections from labor buyers. Thanks for the insights.
And thanks for your thoughtful challenges and questions. They really help bring out the nuances behind the responses, ensuring we constantly improve our approach.
Absolutely. Looking forward to our next deep dive into these practical strategies.